G'day there guys, greatest accomplishment in life is not dying before the age of 20 here, back at it again with another episode of r/AmiTheA. Now if you love this content, please destroy the like button, sit back, relax, and enjoy this bloody good content. Posted by user FosterFix, titled, Am I the a-hole for telling a social worker the real reason why my sister wants a foster kid? So this is a throwaway account. While my sister doesn't use Reddit, we have mutual friends who do. I'm a 28 female, and I have a sister, 36 female. For the sake of the story, I'll just call her Jane. Jane is married to Bob, and they have 2 kids, a boy and a girl. My niece and nephew are wonderful kids and no trouble at all. They fight as siblings do, but nothing big. I love them. Now, for about 2 years, I did live with my sister. It was a miserable time that really affected our relationship. She saw me as free labor, money, and babysitting. Even when I managed to get a small part-time job, she demanded I hand over nearly half of my payment or get out. It was hell, as she took complete advantage of me. I moved out as soon as I could, and we had little contact outside of family gatherings. Now, after I moved out, she started complaining how she was no help with the kids and never gets a break. I babysit sometimes, but I have made it clear, just because I am off work doesn't mean I want an 8-hour day with my niece and nephew. Anyway, she started talking about how she wanted to foster a kid. Not a kid, but a teenager. I pressed her for more info on this. She wants to adopt a teenager so she has a live-in babysitter for her kids. This is her logic. I want a kid around 16 or 17, you know, someone who may have been in the system for a while. They can share a room with your nephew. She only has a 3-bedroom house, or sleep in the garage. They can help me with housework, chores, cook, and help me with my business. She bakes and sells cookies. Also babysit the kids so me and Bob can go out sometimes or have some alone time. They'll be so grateful for a home and won't complain. I won't have to pay them at all, and then when they turn 18, I can just sign up for another foster kid. A teenager will be so much easier than a little kid. They will be grateful just to have a roof, food, siblings if they have been separated from their real ones, and clothes. I was horrified. Told her it was a horrible idea. But she didn't listen to me. She went on with it anyway. About a month ago, a social worker showed up at my apartment to ask me some questions about my sister. She had put me down as a character witness or something like that. I immediately told the foster worker why my sister really wanted to foster a kid and how she treated me when I lived with her. The lady thanked me. My sister called crying, saying that she wouldn't be considered for any adoptions or fosters. The social worker told her that they felt her home and her weren't a good fit. She asked if I said anything, and I told the truth. She went off on me, hung up, and we haven't spoken since. She has sent some angry texts. A couple family members are on her side. They think foster kids are fudging dogs or something, and would be so happy just to have a roof and would be glad to do all the housework. So, am I the a-hole here? Edit. So wow, I didn't know my post blew up like this until I got home from work. Thank you everyone for the kind words, messages, and awards. Remember, no child is in control of the circumstances that may have landed them in the foster care system. They are children and still human. They deserve a loving home and care. Do right by a foster kid, and thank you again. Feel free to message me or chat if you like. I don't know if there's a universe where you could be considered an a-hole for preventing the abuse of a child/teenager. I feel like OP kind of has to be rewarded for their efforts to prevent the child from being put into forced slavery by this woman. The sister essentially wants a robot, like slave worker, than they do want a real human living in their house. That's so wrong and disgusting. So, it's for the best that OP shut that down real quick. OP, not the a-hole. Not the a-hole, you told the truth and saved a teenager from a terrible life of being used and dumped for another, which is no way to treat anyone. It is a foster child, not a slave. I said that, but her logic is, it's not slavery, I'm giving them a home, food, clothes, and everything else. Yeah, and making them watch your kid 8 hours a day, cook dinner, and do everything you are feeling too fudging lazy to do because life is hard. I was especially bothered by the, when they turn 18, I'll sign up for another adoption. People aren't disposable like that. You adopt because you want to give someone a home, a family, and a life. Not to give them an unpaid position as a maid, chef, and caretaker. You did the right thing. Does she think that slaves weren't housed and fed? Because they absolutely were. And what your sister was trying to do was absolutely abhorrent. Thank you for protecting some poor kid from her. Slaves were housed and fed by their owners. This woman would have let their government pay for that. Not the a-hole. What the hell is wrong with your sister? WTF? She believes that teenagers in foster care will just be happy to have a home, period. They won't need the attention that a little kid does. Just to be clear, her husband was against this too, but she went ahead and started the process without him knowing. Hopefully, if he leaves her when she figures out just how crazy she really is, he would get full custody and you could tell the judge this story. When, not if. Posted by user Anon918282828, titled, Would I be the a-hole for letting the child I gave up 18 years ago back in my life against the wishes of her father? Over 18 years ago, when I was 15, I became pregnant with my high school boyfriend's baby. I did not want to keep the baby, and my parents agreed to let me get an abortion if that was what I wanted. I told my high school boyfriend, who was 17 at the time, that I was pregnant, but I planned to have an abortion. He did not take this well and ran to his parents to try and stop me. Him and his parents begged for me to keep the baby. At the time, I was young and easily manipulated. After some time of begging, I agreed to carry the baby to term if they paid for everything, and then took the baby. When the baby was born, I signed my parental rights away with no regrets, and all parties agreed I would have no contact with the child. I have had no regrets from giving the child up. I went to college and have made a successful career, met the love of my life, and have had 2 children with him in my own time. But 2 months ago, I received a Facebook message from the child I gave up 18 years ago. She asked if I was her biological mother, and I told her the truth. She asked to meet me, and I said yes. After meeting, we discussed the situation I had been in, and she told me she had no anger, but only sadness for how things turned out. She told me about her childhood, and said her father was a great father to her, and she had a great stepmother. She ended up telling me her father had no clue she had contacted me. I told her that she should tell her father the truth because he did raise her. She agreed, and asked me if we could stay in contact, and I agreed. To be honest, even though I had no regrets from my decision, and was happy to see this girl had an amazing life, I saw no reason to exclude her from mine if we both agreed to have a healthy adult relationship. I had no plans to be her mother, and made this clear, and she understood. But only a week after our first meetup, I got a very angry call from her biological father. He told me I had no right to be in her life now. I told him I didn't necessarily disagree, but she was the one that sought me out, and it would be cruel to deny her. This, of course, only made him angry. I tried to assure him I wasn't trying to take a parental stance in her life, and he had nothing to worry about, but he didn't care. He told me I needed to stay true to our agreement and stay away from his kid. Ever since then, I'd only talked to the girl through text. Every time she asks to meet up, I give her an excuse. I feel awful giving her the runaround, but I don't want to hurt her relationship with her father and stepmother. Would I be the a-hole for letting this girl into my life more? Edit/update. I very much agree that I should not be lying to her. I honestly really would like a relationship with her as long as she wants one with me. I have contacted her and asked to go to dinner this weekend. I hope I can communicate what's been going on in my mind lately and be as honest as possible with her. Thank you for the judgment and kind words. Personally, I don't think she's the a-hole at all in this situation. Reddit deemed this one an everyone sucks here situation, but I don't see how the mother is an a-hole in this situation. She first starts by respecting the wishes of the father, lets him live his life with the kid. She didn't want the kid, everyone respected that, and now the kid, when it's 18, You know, there's no court order anymore, that there's no more communication there. You're allowed to do what you want at 18. She wants to be part of her mother's life in a friendly capacity. Now the father blows up? That's a dick move. He's being controlling. I'm sorry, he is being controlling, and he can't control his own daughter like that. Nor can he bully OP. They're allowed to do what they want. If that ends in the daughter getting an emotional attachment to the original OP and it not going too well, that's just the consequences of your actions. You can't stop that. So I don't think OP sucks. I think OP's not the a-hole. Freak you, Gallon says, everyone sucks here, you, for this and only this. Every time she asks to meet up, I give her an excuse. Either cut her off or let her in. Don't play games with her, she deserves better. Father, for trying to control his adult child by not respecting her right to find her bio parent, using the coerced agreement of a 15-year-old as the reason, my guess is that he is angry that you didn't parent this child like you were supposed to, and he now wants to punish you despite the agreement being about him wanting to control your actions. Coerced agreement of a 15-year-old. This is such an important detail. Literally, the only reason it isn't everyone sucks here was that she is not being honest with the daughter. Other than that, OP is absolutely not the a-hole. The father sounds like a manipulative, controlling jerk from way back. He has no right to decide who the daughter talks to. Not the a-hole, although OP should either tell the girl OP can't see her and why, or just meet up with her anyway. There's no reason for her ex-boyfriend to still control her actions. Agreed. OP, your daughter is 18, legally an adult, and able to choose who she talks with, meaning she can talk to you and you don't need to sugarcoat anything or fib/lie. Posted by user, May Your Life Be Good. Titled, Am I the a-hole for moving out of my bedroom because of my wife's gaming? My wife got very mad at me for buying a cot and sleeping in the dining room because of her gaming late at night. When she gets done with her work, she likes to game, and that is cool by me. I even do a little bit of gaming myself. The only issue is, I have to go to bed because I have to be up early, and she'll play survival games that scare the hell out of her, and she will jump so hard and scream like a hornet just stung her in the cortoid artery. When this happens, I damn near get thrown off the bed and wake up in a full-blown panic attack. She is now mad and saying that I am overreacting. Am I the a-hole? Oh yes, let me just intentionally wake you up with my screaming and not move to somewhere else that you can't hear me or control myself because it's late at night and you need to sleep. You're overreacting because you don't need sleep, God. What are you, an idiot? She is delusional. OP, you're not the a-hole. I think you just need to shut that down or keep doing what you're doing. I don't know, find a good compromise in this situation. Not the a-hole. She seriously can't understand that it is neither normal nor healthy to wake you up like that? Haven't you talked to her about it? Yes. She apologizes and just says blah blah, snuck up on me, then goes back to playing. This morning, it was a wolf that snuck up on her in the dark. Explain to her that you need your sleep and that alternatively, she can play in the living room and come to bed when she's done playing. If she doesn't accept this compromise, then stay in the cot. My parents had this issue as well, as my mum would use the TV to fall asleep, which is a terrible idea in its own right, but the noise and light would keep my dad up. He eventually put his foot down and moved the TV out. The bedroom is for two things, and they both start with S. Cries in tiny flat lockdown. Can't wait for days where rooms can go back to single use. Bedroom is currently a bedroom, office, gym, and occasional dining room. Not the a-hole. She is being inconsiderate to you and your sleeping schedule. Would it be possible for her to move her gaming somewhere else, like the living room? She can, but she doesn't. Then she can't be mad about you wanting to sleep elsewhere. Maybe think about going to couples therapy so she can understand why it bothers you and a way both of you can compromise. I don't understand this sub's obsession with sending people immediately to couples therapy. This is not a communication issue between the two of them. It isn't rocket science to figure out repeatedly jolting a sleeping person awake because you're gaming is not appropriate. If she cannot understand this, then it's a her problem, not a relationship problem. If you're suggesting she needs therapy for her lack of empathy, fine. But sitting the two of them on a couch to discuss why he doesn't like getting unnecessarily woken up is a waste of money and time. Posted by user Wondervast, titled, "Am I the a-hole for making a scene during my husband's friend's baby shower over a comment?" I'll try to make this as brief as possible. My husband and I, both 37, have been together 7 years. For about 10 years, he's had a close female friend named Jane. Jane is fine. We have enough in common that I like doing things in group settings with her, and we even chat on our own occasionally. But she's definitely closer to my husband. She's been with her own husband since I came around, but I always got the sense from Jane herself, from old photos, and a few old anecdotes from some of my husband's other friends, that Jane wanted to date my husband before she met hers, and he just never showed any interest. So throughout the years, there has been a little weirdness, but nothing serious. He was her man of honor, a few gushy tributes to him on his birthday over Facebook, or the odd sitting on his lap in a big group photo, but never overly flirtatious. And she seemed super happy with her husband, so it was never a big enough deal to mention anything, but I noticed them all. Fast forward to a few months ago, and Jane became pregnant. She immediately asked my husband to be the godfather, and he was thrilled. I wasn't surprised, was happy for him, internally a bit of course she did. But through the months, she turned weird. She wanted my husband to come with her and her husband baby shopping once or twice. Even asked how my husband felt about him and I being the first people to meet the baby when they're born. It's nice that she included me, but clearly it's about my husband. And then it escalated. She announced she was going to name the baby after my husband. Not just his name, but her Facebook announcement said, "After my dearest and best friend, John." I mentioned that was weird to my husband, and he just said, "I think it's a nice tribute." This past weekend was her very small COVID-friendly baby shower, during which Jane kept referring to my husband as godfather-to-be, which irked me every single time. I guess the month of her being weird just piled on because towards the end, she asked me to take a photo of her and her husband, and then she said, "Okay, now let's get one with both the fathers-to-be." And I said very loudly, "Oh, come the frick on, are you serious?" Everybody heard me. I stared at her for a moment, and she looked absolutely aghast, and I grabbed my purse and just left. My husband followed me, but in the car he wouldn't say a word to me. I laid out everything I did in the post, including a dozen other examples, but he just stared straight ahead and wouldn't answer. Finally, when we got home, he acknowledged that yes, a lot of that stuff, now that he sees it all laid out, is inappropriate, and he's sorry that he didn't see it and understands how I feel. But he is absolutely livid that I ruined her baby shower. Jane is furious, never wants to see me again, and John feels like this is going to drive a big wedge through his friend group. So, was I the a-hole here? I initially went into a long rant, saying that you're the a-hole OP, but in these comments, there is more information that's come to light. People would be very angry at me for the rant that I went on attacking the wife. And although I felt it was justified at the time, with more information and getting clarity, I believe that it's an everyone sucks here, leaning on OP is not the a-hole. Wow, I believe I have processed what happened. I'm going to say everyone sucks here because I have to pinpoint it, but you have so much sympathy from me. There's a time and place for that and laying down the law, but it's not at her baby shower. Edit. This 4K points is insane. For everyone responding to me, I did not know about the conception issue. I would change my rating to everyone sucks here or something. Still think to let something like this simmer in a marriage is a bad idea. But to say Jane didn't deserve a little comeuppance would be erroneous. Edit twice. Didn't realize the comment carried so much weight, so I changed it to everyone sucks here. I hope people leave me alone now. Either this, or it's the perfect time. Think about Jane's husband as the poor cuckold during all this two fathers bullcrap. Jane needed a harsh wake-up call, and she got it. I think this was the perfect time to call her out, but everyone sucks here. How emasculating for her husband. Jane has issues, and sometimes we all reach a boiling point. I feel for the OP and her clueless husband. He is right, the friend group will change. I am editing my opinion, OP is not the a-hole, based upon further info she shared below. OP and her husband tried for years to conceive, and Jane knew. To me, that means Jane is evil and digging her own knife. She deserved to be called out on her bad behavior, even at her own baby shower. Screw the dude's emasculation, what about his wife's e-womasculation? She had to put up with his bullcrap for fear of looking like a crazy person, which Jane clearly seems to be. Projecting Jane's feelings on OP's husband is disrespectful, and her husband lets that crap happen. Not the a-hole. Yes, your timing was extremely unfortunate, and you should apologize to the shower hosts and any guests you were friendly with. But damn, Jane needs to understand she poked and poked and poked and poked, and yeah, eventually that crap's gonna come back at her as an attack. If she didn't want to be called out, she shouldn't have acted as she did. I would apologize with, I didn't mean to imply there had been an affair, so Jane and her husband get how inappropriate Jane had been. Edited from Everyone Sucks Here to Not the A-hole based on OP's response. I totally 110% understand where you're coming from, but to say that loud enough for the whole party to hear is, that was a reaction. I probably would have said the same damn thing, by the way. And she is absurd saying things like both the fathers-to-be. That is egregious. You didn't mention kids, and I don't know if you want or plan to have any, or have not conceived, but this just sounds like a major overstep regardless. OP says, we actually tried for a long time to conceive, couldn't, and had to give up for health concerns, all of which Jane is well aware of. It hadn't occurred to me until just now that that might have played a part in my anger at hearing her refer to my husband as a father. Oh my god. I hate her. She is, twirling fingers by my temples, psycho balls. She has a husband. She's having a baby. Why does she need to claim your husband too? I am dying to know what her husband thought of that statement. Is he really okay with the God part of Godfather being silent? If I had been witness to that, even without the background, I would have been like, the two fathers? What now? I'm willing to bet the other guests did too. Posted by user Throwaway Joe Ryder, titled, Am I the a-hole for not letting my daughter move in with me? Not native speaker. I divorced my ex-wife 3 years ago. I initiated divorce because we were not physically compatible any longer. My daughter, 13, chose my ex-wife over me. I was devastated as I provided everything to her. Now, I have my daughter's custody every weekend. Last year, my ex-wife married her co-worker and moved in with him. Yesterday, she called me crying and asked me if she could move in with me permanently. She's having some issues with her stepdad. I told her no, she made her choice 3 years back when she chose her mother over me despite everything I did for her. She is obviously welcome in the house for every weekend as per custody agreements, but I want her out on Monday. My partner thinks I'm too harsh on her, but she left me. I didn't. Am I the a-hole? Yes, I think you're an a-hole for this one. I think if she's having trouble at home, you should be an enabler in this situation and enable her to be somewhere she feels comfortable and safe as her parent. She's 13 years old. Come on, can't you give her some slack? That's really not a good age to be dealing with such a traumatic environment, as big or as small as it may be. And it's your duty as a parent to be looking after her. So you're definitely an a-hole for not giving her the opportunity to stay longer when she wants to. Yikes. You're the a-hole. You're holding resentment against a 13-year-old child who wanted to stay with her mother. Middle school age is a really formative time for young girls, so it's no surprise she wanted to stay with her mum. You still have every weekend. What you're doing now is pushing your daughter away. She's 16. If you want a relationship with her, and a relationship going forward into her future, this right here is what's going to make that incredibly difficult. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if she stopped coming on the weekend too. You're making it clear that you don't want her. For her sake, I hope she has some friends that she can stay with who actually care about her well-being, not just ones that stop caring on Monday. Info. Is the daughter currently 16? I read it as she's currently 13 and chose to be with her mom when she was 10. Oh geez, if that's the case, he's even more the a-hole. He's not her best friend, he's her father. If she's having an issue with her stepdad, it might not even be safe for her to be with her mum right now. And at 13, she likely wouldn't have friends to stay with. OP needs to get over himself. And OP initiated divorce because his wife gained weight. He's completely the a-hole. Yes, you are an a-hole. Also, what the hell is physical compatibility? She gained too much weight, around 30 kilos. Now you're the a-hole twice. Why is leaving someone you're no longer attracted to bad? Because he's blaming his own daughter for the breakdown of her relationship with him when he's the one who left the family because mummy didn't make his pee-pee hard anymore. Leaving due to sexual incompatibility is fine. Holding a grudge against your kids because they're mad about it is not. Posted by user T352, titled, Am I the a-hole for asking my dad to get me feminine products because my boyfriend refused because he felt too embarrassed? I'm currently on my period and have some bad cramps today. My whole body is aching and I'm feeling very low energy. I'm nearly running out of pads, so I kindly asked my boyfriend if he could go down to the local store to get me some pads, chamomile tea, and painkillers. He started huffing and puffing, and he wanted to blow the house down, and said he wouldn't get that stuff for me. I asked him why, and he said that it's too embarrassing. I didn't have the energy to argue, so I texted my dad and asked him if he could get that stuff for me. He lives nearby and is currently WFH, working from home. He was on his lunch break. Fortunately, he arrived within 15 minutes and got me everything I needed and then some. My boyfriend got so ticked. He said that just because he refused, it doesn't mean that I should go running to my dad. I asked him why that's an issue, and he didn't fully explain himself. He just said that it's his job to get me stuff like that, which makes no sense because I asked him to and he refused. He's nagging the whole time, and I had no patience for that. He continued being moody and said that it was disrespectful of me. I think he's just being moody and feels emasculated by your dad because he didn't want to go get the products. I don't even think that he's regretting his choice. He's just warping the narrative of this to make you some evil woman with cramps who can't control herself and has to get her father to look after her because he doesn't want to. Is he delusional? Like, is he okay in the head? He's an a-hole, you're not, OP, you're okay. Not the a-hole, lose the boyfriend but keep the dad. And OP says, keeping the dad. Boyfriend is upset because your dad showed everyone how fragile your boyfriend's masculinity is. This is the answer, pure and simple. If it was boyfriend's job, why did he fail to do that job when called upon? It's because he isn't worthy. I think he didn't do the job when called upon because he was obviously worried that people would think all of those things were for him and for his vagina. On a serious note, he really needs to get over that. He should be bringing OP those things and her favorite treat. Either he was just being lazy or his masculinity is very fragile. Either way, this is a basic thing that boyfriends will likely have to deal with at some point. It's a chance for him to take care of OP and he failed to do it. If that's his job and he refused to do his job, the question is if this is a written warning situation or a situation that should lead to his immediate termination from the position. Honestly though, I want to know if he's normally a good guy and having a bad day, or is he just a little bear more often than not? Immediate termination. If the boyfriend can't handle something as simple as buying tampons, he is not ready for a serious relationship. Also, the way he handled OP getting help from her dad after he refused to help his sick girlfriend is a huge red flag for emotional abuse. I don't get the fragility aspect. Oh no, I'm a man who has women in his life who rely on him and trust him to bring them something they need. Gosh, How emasculating being able to publicly display that I'm a good son, good husband, good boyfriend, or good father. Surely my personal sacrifice for those I love will be seen as a weakness for what? Women. What person longs for someone to make sacrifices for them to improve their lives? Alright, fudging everybody. Alright, and I think that's where we're going to leave today's episode, guys. I really do hope you enjoyed the content today. If you guys loved watching it as much as I loved making it, I would love for you to subscribe to the channel already if you haven't. Tell me what you thought of it down in the comments below, maybe like the video, who knows. I'd also like to take this time to thank my awesome Patreon and channel members. Without you guys, I don't know what I'd do. I'd probably be homeless on the streets of Ireland, crying Irish dancing all over town. It would just be a mess. But no, for real, you guys are up on the screen now. Thank each and every one of you guys. And if you personally want to join the club yourself, there are links down in the description below. There's also the join button next to the subscribe button. Small monthly fee, but hey, it goes a long way to help me create more awesome content. Well, with that said, guys, I hope you do have a lovely day, night, sleep, evening, day at work, day at school, whatever you're up to. I hope you keep awesome today. You're looking amazing, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.